Hi guys, it's Mark Zicree, Mr. Sci-Fi, also known as Mark Zicree of Space Command. And if you haven't been watching the Space Command web series we've been posting, well, what are you doing with your time? So definitely check it out. We're up to episode 3 of the web series, and basically we're putting out sections of the full hour of the finished pilot in webisodes for people who want to see it in 5 to 10 minute installments. We're launching the crowdfunding campaign within days to raise the money to shoot hour 4. We're in post on hours 2 and 3 of Space Command. We're ramping up to shoot all 12 hours. We're in post-production on the web, on the radio play, the audio play, which is the prequel, and we're doing the graphic novel, which is the prequel. I mean, just lots of cool stuff. And I'm wearing my Alien t-shirt, my cool Sigourney Weaver Alien t-shirt. And if you don't recognize what's behind me, it's because I'm in Hampstead. Elaine and I are going to be having meetings with the buyers, the networks here on Subversives, the miniseries, and Space Command, and all sorts of stuff. Michelle DaCosta, who's our development exec, is here with us, and it's going to be an amazing few days. Look forward to sharing all the amazing wonders that come of it with you, and we'll talk about that really soon. But meantime, I wanted to talk about Picard episode 5, and shortly I'll be doing Picard episode 6. So, episode 5's better than most of the other episodes of Picard so far. I found Picard rather lethargic in its pacing. I thought this episode was well paced. But you know, I've talked before about how, you know, they curse, they say, you know, words that it really wouldn't be appropriate for a family show. And by family show, I don't mean a kid show. I mean a show that the entire family can watch, and they don't have to, you know, worry about what their kids are seeing or hearing in terms of questionable content. And you know, Picard seems totally unaware of this. The things that made Star Trek and Star Trek The Next Generation such wonderful shows for the entire family. And so, like, Picard episode 5 opens with a former Borg person having their eyeball physically removed by mechanical equipment. And it's just, you know, unnecessary to be that graphic. And but there are many things I liked about the episode. Jerry Ryan, who plays 7 of 9 and who was established as a character on Star Trek Voyager, returns as a mercenary, and I've always liked Jerry Ryan. I met her on the set of Voyager many years ago. She was, you know, of course, spectacular looking, but I've always thought she was a wonderful actress as well. And she still looks beautiful, and she's still a wonderful actress. So she's someone I very much would like to work with, and hopefully we'll get her on Space Command or one of the other 6 shows we're going to be shooting the pilots of this year for the Showrunners Network. But also, there were other things in this episode that were a mixture of good and bad. They had a sort of a cantina scene, you know, low-life cantina, and that's of course a riff on Casablanca, which then becomes a riff on Star Wars. But Star Wars did the ultimate alien cantina scene, of course, and so this is just kind of like a cheap version of that, and not really as good. And you know, and they have Picard in an eye patch pretending to be a Frenchman, and you know, his backstory is he's French, but that's really shaky because Patrick Stewart seems so British, and whenever he does French, it sounds awful. And I have a friend of mine, Ryan Husk, who actually plays Lieutenant Sturgeon on Space Command, and he's a native French speaker. And I said, is Picard's French as bad as it sounds? And he said, yeah, it's just awful. So. And I know that as that character was supposed to be a caricature and all of that, but still, for me, it just didn't do the job. It was just like, oh man, and then there's the character of Rios, who still is like, I don't know, Han Solo light, I guess. And I like Jerry Ryan. I like the notion of Borg, former Borg, being harvested for their parts, and the parts being valuable on the black market. I thought that was really interesting. I thought that, you know, I mean, basically I'd like to have Jerry Ryan in the show as a regular. I've said this before, you know, the characters like, and I found out something interesting, which is the character of Raffi and this backstory about, you know, what happens between Picard, when we saw him in the last Star Trek movie, Nemesis, and the new TV show, there was actually a sequel to Nemesis that followed Picard after that, and it introduced the character of Raffi, who is in this show. And so now most, as we all know, most of the comic books and novels and so forth are not canon. They don't count as real, quote unquote. But in this case, they are taking that story as canonical. And so, and in this one, Raffi is someone who's, estranged from her kid, and he's about to have a baby with his wife, and she has a history of drug and alcohol abuse and so forth. And again, it's okay. I mean, but I've seen that trope so many times. I mean, Moonlight did it. Many films have done it. Many TV shows have done it. That doesn't mean it's not valid, but it's just kind of tired. And I was thinking about this, and for me, I mean, if you want to see how I do things, watch some of the things I've written. But I believe in creating characters where we see who they love and who they sacrifice themselves for, and what makes them worth paying attention to, worth us taking the journey with them. And so I'm not that interested in characters who are falling apart or not reliable, or because in science fiction the gag is if someone seems that they're not reliable, they'll show up in the last minute and they'll be reliable. And because I know that that's the gag they're playing, there's no suspense to it, there's no drama to it particularly. It's just kind of like we're watching them going through the motions. And that said, there's still a lot I like about this show. I mean, Patrick Stewart is solid, and and etc. And the actors are working hard, but it's I just wish I was when Jerry Ryan goes off, on her adventures. I want to go with her. I don't want to stay on this ship with Picard and his friends. So anyway, and shortly I'll talk about episode 6. I have to check and see how many episodes they're doing for this season. I like the fact there's a Borg cube that's been deactivated, and it's a research project. I like the fact that Jerry Ryan is a mercenary trying to protect people when the Federation fell apart, basically, or it's decided they weren't going to do that anymore. There's many good pieces of this show, and I just wish that it would all knit together a little more solidly. So anyway, that's about it for now. A little bit jet lagged, many adventures to come. But definitely, if you want to pledge to Space Command, keep an eye out for our Space Command Kickstarter campaign, which will start in the next few days. Or if you want to buy Space Command shares for $7,500 each, we're just chomping at the bit to roll camera. We're building the alien spaceship and the creatures and all that stuff. And if you like Space Command and you want to see more of it, money is what makes everything move. So that's sort of it for now from England, from Hampstead. And thanks for everything. The reason I'm in Hampstead to begin with is that one of our investors had a home here and was kind enough to let us stay there. And it was quite wonderful. We really loved it, and we love this area. So that's about it for now. We're going to be having our Space Command premiere at the Chinese Theater in the days to come. We're going to be having the Space Command convention, all sorts of things. We'll be announcing that in the near future. So until next time, it's Mark Zicree of Space Command, Mark Zicree, Mr. Sci-Fi. Talk to you soon. Bye, guys.